Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Tryhard Nation. As always, I'm your host, the omegatryhard, and today we have our science tier list. And that wasn't planned. I'm not sure why it's on green. Let's just go ahead and roll the intro. Yeah, so this is going to be our science tier list. Quick disclaimer, beginning of every video. This is my personal tier list. That doesn't mean that this tier list should be the end all be all answer of whatever questions it is that you have. Everybody's tier list is going to be different depending on your masteries, on your playstyle, where you are in the game, the nodes that you're fighting. This game is very complex. There's a lot of different interactions and stuff like that that happen. So this is just a general guideline. The way that you read the tier list that I'm doing right now is going to be top to bottom is best to worst, left to right is best to worst. So if this was the tier list right here, Thing would be the best champion of all these science characters. Hulk would be next in line, and then these would be the bottom of the barrel characters, with Spider-Man 2099 being the best of the worst, and Hulk Ragnarok being the worst of the worst. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. We are going to start off with Thing. Um, Thing is a champion that surprised me. I thought he would be a lot more, or I guess mainly defensive, but he's surprisingly good on offense. His damage really ramps up if you use synergy teams just to completely focus on him. His damage is some of the highest in the game. His protection can allow you to cheese a lot of content in the game, as well as 6.2.6 champion boss. You can basically just scoot into the corner, keep spamming back so that you go unstoppable, gain your paralysis really quickly, and then beat him that way. Super cheesy. It's kind of disgusting, but yeah, Thing definitely is going to be the first of the amazing tier. Oh, actually, I forgot to break down. Super awesome. The S tier. These are the champions that are going to be the top 5 champions of the class. Um, what this means is typically these are characters that are going to be super strong in basically every scenario. So if you wanted to slot them into your team as your science character, whatever class it is, you'd typically be pretty safe bringing them in. A is the amazing tier, which is going to be characters that are very strong. However, they're not the top of their class, but they still have lots of utility or lots of damage or lots of prestige, whatever it is that makes them the A tier. B is basically average. These are characters that are basically average. They're not great, they're not bad, but they are definitely playable. Um, and you shouldn't feel bad about ranking them up or playing them or whatever the case may be. C is the come on, you're so close tier. This is the tier that is reserved for champions that are just one tweak or one little fix away from taking them from irrelevancy to near the top of their class. And then the D Dammit Kabam tier, these are this is the tier for champions that are ruined by Kabam. These are champions that are unplayable, that don't do anything. They're not good, they're not bad, they are the worst. These are characters that need to be reworked, need to be massively buffed or something. But yeah, let's just go ahead. I'm not doing him next. Let's do Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen is jumping up to the amazing tier. She's a character that used to be a meme. They literally put her at the end of, what is it, 5.2, 5.2.6, whatever the Grandmaster or the Collector is. They put her right before that boss fight, just as a meme, like an easy fight before you get to the Collector, and now she's actually surprisingly strong. Her evade is a lot better, so she's a lot better on defense. She has quick access to slow, so she's one of the best champions in the game to handle unstoppable. Really high damage, really good synergies, just overall very strong champion now. Overseer, this is a character that I personally really love. Um, a lot of people sleep on him, and I don't know why. He has such a good amount of utility. He's immune to Nullify, Fate, Seal, Stagger. He does burst damage. Um, his poison immune, his burst damage. Whenever he would be nullified or something that he's immune to. He does burst damage, as well as he does a lot of damage after a very quick ramp up. Um, he can disorient, he can become stun immune, he can auto block. He has good synergies, some that make him immune to reverse controls. He's just an insanely strong character, and I don't see why people sleep on him so much. But as soon as I pull him as a 6-star character, expect to see a lot of videos and gameplay from him. Immortal Hulk. Immortal Hulk, Immortal Hulk. I love Immortal Hulk. He is so fun to play until he isn't. He's a character that honestly probably should be in this tier, but because I like him so much, I'm going to put him here. When he works very, very, very well. The issue with him is that, one, his heal can be reversed, so a lot of the time his immortality doesn't really make him immortal. It's not like I can't even compare it to something. It's just it's not good. It's not to the levels of a Hercules, but it works completely differently than that. It's just his stun isn't 100% of a chance to stun, so a lot of the times you're relying on that to get that guaranteed burst damage. A lot of the time the AI from the opponent, they're just playing very defensively, so you can't bait out specials, so you can't parry them. You can, it's just a lot of there's so many things that go against him on an average fight that he's just not good. Even with suicide, something that you would think that his kit would help him with, taking damage to be able to store that and do more damage or whatever, he's really bad with them. Very, very bad with them, because the bleed basically, if you trigger the immortality in the first 10 seconds of the fight or whatever, you're just dead, because it'll kill you. It's just the worst. I hate it. Void. Void, 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 void. First S tier. This class is pretty stacked now that I'm looking at it, because Void is an absolute monster. He is a utility god, he's a tank, he's so easy to play, so fun to play, so safe to play. You can end fights without ever hitting the opponent. I've seen this a bunch of times on YouTube. Sure, they're 15-20 minute fights, but being able to say that I can kill you without ever hitting you, that's a pretty cool task, and Void can do it easily. Immortal Hulk, or Immortal Abomination, another character that was really not on my radar because he looks so weird, but when he was released, his damage, his utility, his sustain, his playstyle, all of it is so intriguing. It's so much fun, so intuitive. He's just a really, really strong character, really awesome character. He was my first science rank 3, and no regrets. Love this character. I'm going to put Wasp in the amazing tier. She has a lot of damage with her guaranteed crits. She has access to power sting. She can petrify. Very good synergies. She can apply weakness, I believe, as well. Overall, just a really strong, really good character. Very easy and very straightforward. Her only issue is that she's very fragile. Mr. Negative, another character that's pretty good, has a lot of unique utility. I don't know too much about him, but from what I do know and what I have seen, he's super cool. And how could you not like that character design, like the inverse black and white yin and yang with the staff with like the blade on the end? It's just such a cool character design. His level 2 can do a lot of damage with the degenerations. He can heal a pretty decent amount with the white charges. I forgot what they're called. He can do with the level 2. He can also apply a really potent petrify. He can do reverse controls. He can do I believe he's either partially or can become degeneration immune, something like that, or maybe he heals when he's degenerating. Again, very unique character, very unique utility, very unique playstyle. Gotta put him in the A tier. Spider-Man is actually in the dynamic bam tier. This character is dog shit. The only thing going for him is that he has an armor break, and fairly decent damage, I guess, but still one of the worst parts about playing Spider-Man OG is that when you try and parry, if he's duped, you can evade that, and if you evade that, odds are the second hit from the opponent is going to hit you, and he's the absolute worst. Yeah, I hate playing him. Mr. Fantastic, let's put him up here. Is this? Yeah, I'm gonna put it here. This is where I'm gonna sit it. Mr. Fantastic. He's a character that is another piece of proof that value buffs really have large impact when done right. He's a character that they just tweaked the values of his fury and how much his attack is increased per debuff and stuff like that, and he went from complete irrelevancy to one of the top characters in the science class. He has easy access to petrify, to defensive combat power rate reduction, which is a very unique piece of utility. He was the first character that had cross-fight mechanics. Good on defense, good on offense, very good for synergies as well. Actually, I might actually just put him at the top. He's a really good support character because his pre-fights, they can apply for other people, not only for your own characters that are going to be fighting and fight until that fight is done. So if you're fighting like the final boss of a node or of a quest or something like that, whatever pre-fights you activate on that fight, stay until that fight is over. So there's other characters like Human Torch that when you activate it, it's only for that one fight. So if you mess up and evade a special and die, that charge is just gone until you re-get it through Human Torch's signature ability. Mr. Fantastic, it stays on that fight until that fight is done. And not only that, but in Alliance Quest and Alliance War, other people gain that benefit as well. So if you put that on Boss Island, you can reduce healing, all that kind of stuff. It's a massive buff for everybody. He's super good. MODOK is a character that isn't bad, isn't good. He has some unique pieces of utility with his level 1 and stuff like that. My issue with him is that he is completely random. Everything he does, his stats, all of that are just XD random type of stuff. They thought it was funny in his kit, in his biography and stuff like that, that his stats just fluctuate, but while that's good lore-wise, I guess, it's just not good for mechanics of a game. Hulk, another character that is dog shit. His character doesn't do much of anything, even when you do get the double fury with the Hulk smash under his 20%. Duped, it's not anything special, and you have to, like I said, you have to be fighting right on the edge to really max that out. The Hulk smash is only once a fight. His stuns from his specials aren't guaranteed, I don't think. He does have some uses, I guess, because in matchups where there's power reserve, you can kind of reliably spam special ones to keep getting the stun off, because it has a pretty long duration if you have Furies up. But no, they fucked up. They need to remake this character. Captain America Infinity War. This man is insane. His synergies are insane, his damage is insane, his utility is insane, he's super tanky, he can handle unstoppable very easily in a very unique way, where he nullifies it as he's attacking into them, which is different than slow, because you can even proc it on debuff immune nodes and stuff like that. So he's very strong. He can inverse healing, he can apply armor breaks, all that kind of stuff when he's duped. So that's his biggest downside, which is why he's not at the top of the class. Which we'll see who I personally believe is at the top of the class and order ranges and stuff at the end. But that's his biggest downside, that he needs to be Sig 200 to really be maximum efficient, but still insane character. Captain America, dog shit. Captain America World War II, dog shit. Not gonna speak on them very much. They're just the absolute worst. Ant-Man, I'm gonna put on the come on, you're so close here. Because oddly enough, if they just tweaked the amount of poison damage that he gets on his special 2, or maybe added some sort of like bonus effects on his level 1 or something like that, he could be really good. Because he's really tanky. All he needs is a little bit more damage or a little bit more utility to be usable. Right now, the main reason that he's in the come on you're so close tier is because even though he has all of that going for him, his one use is being on the synergy team with Wasp and Ghost. So even if you're not happy about pulling him, he's gonna have a use and he's probably gonna be on your team at one point or another. So that's why he earns his spot here. Human Torch. Human Torch, in my opinion, is the best science character in the game. He has basically one use. Well, I guess you could say two uses, which are mystic characters and energy attack characters. If you're going against those two types of characters, he just melts them. He can take down... I've actually think I've seen him take down the Abyss Mephisto as a 3-star, which is insane. Absolutely insane. His damage just ramps up so quickly and you can't avoid it because the one thing about him is no character in the game can get around his Nova Flame. So if you are bringing him even just for that one pre-fight, that one single use, that one single pre-fight, there is no interaction in the game, I don't think, that gets rid of or is immune to Nova Flames. It's just absurd. It also applies Power Sting. It's just so much damage gets built up in his Nova Flame form. He's super fun to play. His mechanics are very intuitive and they're very fun to manage, at least for me. He can stop missing once you get above 10 temperature charges. He can stun, he can have some interactions into block, he has decent synergies, just easily the best champion in my opinion. She-Hulk. She-Hulk I'm going to put near the top of the amazing tier because she is the god of slow. She has pretty good damage, she has a taunt, kind of. It's not like an actual taunt debuff, but her personal furies, everyone adds like a 15% taunt to the opponent. So once you get her going, basically you can get them locked into a corner, just constantly throwing their specials, constantly refreshing her furies, building up her damage, keeping them slowed in the corner, stuff like that. She can just get really out of hand and make the game really easy. If you ever doubt how good she is, just go ahead and look up anything Metal Sonic Dude MSD has done. That guy is a legend. He makes this game look so easy, it's pretty ridiculous. Miles Morales, I'm going to put him here because I think he probably belongs here, if I'm being honest, in the basically average tier, but because of one specific part of his kit, which is when he does his Spider-Man cloak thing or whatever it's called, he evades unblockable hits 100%. Which means for things like nodes like unblockable finale, unblockable special attacks, all those types of things, he is a very good option for, and that is a very, very strong and very underrated piece of utility. I'm not 100% sure how it works. I haven't played him personally because I don't think I have him as a 5 or 6 star. But yeah, he's insanely strong if that works the way that I think it works, and from what I've seen on random videos and stuff like that, it is. It's pretty nuts. Sentry. Where does Sentry go? Sentry, unfortunately, I love him. I love his animations. I love his lore as a character. His design, his kit, the way everything works. It's so good. It just needs a little bit of a tweak. If they made his charges a little bit easier to get, if they made his phases a little bit more potent, he would be a very, very strong character. But as it sits right now, he's just on the borderline of being good, but not quite. Luke Cage. Luke Cage I'm gonna put here too. Actually I'm gonna put him at the top of yeah, you're gonna sit in the amazing tier. He is a character that does a lot more damage than you would expect. He is one of the few characters that have an indestructible charge, and his is multiple times a match. So you can really manipulate that as a safety net. You can use it to get around things like all or nothing, that one node that makes it so they like they use the level 1, then the level 2, then the level 3, then the level 1, and keep cycling like that. You can use him to get around that. Something that I didn't know about him as well is that he can inverse power gain, because all of his exhaustions reverse or reduce power gain by I think 25%. So once you're at 5, you start inverting it. So he's a really, really good character to counter champions like Hyperion that have a lot of power gain. Vision Arcus. It's pretty crazy, and each debuff that they have increases his attack. So after a couple debuffs, he really starts hitting like a truck. He's also another champion that is proof that value buffs can really change the dynamic and how a character feels, because before he used to be, I think Seaton used to call him what, like Cotton Hand Luke or something like that, and now he hits like a truck. Video is starting to get long, so I'm gonna try and make these next ones a lot quicker. Abomination, I'm gonna put him in basically average. No, I'm gonna put him here. I'm gonna put him here because he needs a synergy with Immortal Abomination to be good, and when you need a synergy to be good, to me that should just be folded into your base kit, or you should be modified. Yellow Jacket, I'm gonna put somewhere up here. His rework did him really well. He's a lot more tanky. He does a lot more damage. His Petrify is a nice piece of utility. His Power Sting seems and feels a bit more potent. Just overall a pretty average but very strong character. Anti-Venom. I'm going to put Anti-Venom here. I haven't played with him enough to say if he deserves the A tier, but from what I've seen, he's a character that's very average, except in like medium to high time fights. Short fights, his damage is really weak. His utility is really weak because he needs a lot of time to ramp up. However, as the fight goes on, he gets a lot more effective. His damage goes up, his utility goes up because he can build more debuffs. But yeah, just the state of the game, I think games that are in that like medium tier ramp up time are where you should be. Quake, this is probably going to be where it's controversial. Most people, I think, would say she deserves to be at the top of the S tier because on her kit, based on her kit, she's probably the second best character in the game, maybe even third best, behind maybe Kitty and maybe Ghost. But with the state of the game and her only being released as a 5-star, the more recent content makes her not good. So the newer content that you do, as you do more and more newer content, she seems less and less valuable. So I'm gonna put her at the top of the A tier because you can still use her. It's just she's just not as good. Red Hulk, I'm probably gonna put here. As much as I like him personally, and he does have a really good use in Alliance War for the Hazard Shift node, he's probably the best option for that. Aside from that, he doesn't really do much. His incinerates on his level 2, his regen on his level 2 are negligible. His ramp up on the level 1 and stuff like that is very easy, but his damage isn't good enough to really warrant anything higher than this, because he's not a character that would be really, really good everywhere. In my opinion, he's just a character that if you have and you like, feel free to use. Red Guardian, I'm gonna put him somewhere around here too. His another thing that I forgot about Yellow Jacket, he has access to slow now, really good. But yeah, Red Guardian, basically all he ever gets used for is slow, and there's a bunch of other characters that do that better and easier. Spider-Man 2099. Spider-Man 2099. Where do you go? Where do you go? I think you go there. Spider-Man 2099 is a character that is quickly climbing up my ranks on fun characters, best characters to play. He's very simple to use, very effective, very fun. Everything he does is, you don't have to try hard to do it, but when you do it, you can feel it and it feels effective. This is the pinnacle of what a character should feel, excuse me, should be like. His signature ability is really, really nice to have, but you don't need it. Again, he, in my opinion, is a character that's perfectly built. He's not overpowered, he's not underpowered, he's just really strong in every scenario and the best option in some scenarios. Just awesome character. Rhino, so close. He's purely defensive, so they're scared to give him a bunch of damage or anything like that, or a bunch of utility. But yeah, so close but so far. Same thing with Electro. He's too fragile. His damage is decent, but not decent enough to want to use over how fragile and how ineffective he is in most scenarios. Invisible Woman, I'm probably gonna put in the C tier. As much as I personally like her, and like playing her, her ramp up is just way too unforgiving, and not enough utility there. She's good, but could be way, way better. Spider-Ham, I'm gonna put here. It's very similar to Spider-Man 2099. He's very easy to use. He's very effective. You don't really have to do anything special to make Spider-Ham work. He just works, and when he does work, you can feel it. You can see the big burst of the power stings. You can see the refreshes. You can see the taunts. You can see it just all works together and feels really, really good. And again, the dupe is really nice to have, but it's not necessary. Just, they really nailed it with those two character designs. Joe Fixit just got a value buff, rework, whatever kind of thing, and he's decent, I guess, but I still wouldn't use him anywhere. So Hulk Ragnarok, I'm gonna put him here. He's a character that really disappoints me because in the movies he's really cool. His design is really cool. I like his mechanic of the smash where he can go unstoppable, and the crowd excitement and the thumbs up and thumbs down and the signature ability. But man, he hits like a wet noodle. There are very few characters in this game that I hate playing, and he is one of them. He just feels so weak, which feels even more insulting because he's a Hulk. Even in the scenarios where you want to use him, where for his like face me mechanic against like Magix or Dormammu's or Mephisto's, stuff like that, even in those scenarios where all the stars are aligned for him, his damage isn't impressive. His utility of being able to like taunt the opponent and regenerate some of that damage isn't that strong because you're still taking, I think it's either 60 or 70%. So when somebody's doing, I don't know, 10,000 damage in energy damage and you're healing back 6,000, you're still taking 4,000 damage, which is still like 10% over a long fight that could be like 400,000 or 500,000 health now in Act 7, or more high-end content like Abyss of Legends, something like that. It's just, he's unpractical, even in his impractical, is that a word? Why does that sound wrong? Anyways, he's not efficient. He's not the choice that I would use in even the scenarios that he's made for. So that's going to be it for the tier list. Time to do our little shuffle here, and people have really been getting very, very angry with me because of this shuffle. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't care at all because it is hilarious to me that people do this. So yeah, so this is going to be it for the tier list. Just a little bit of a recap. Spider-Man 2099, easily the best science character of the year in the game right now. very efficient. Everything he does is super potent, super strong, super fun. Animation super cool. He looks like a badass. Torch, just they've been making characters that don't have energy attacks, so he's not as good. They've been making mechanics where you can't get hit into block or unblockable and stuff like that, so he's losing a lot of value. Overseer is completely busted. I don't know how people don't value him more. His damage after his ramp up is insane. Same thing goes with anti-venom. His ramp up is just a little bit longer, but it's super potent. Mr. Negative, super disappointing. Such a cool character design, but man, he's dog shit. And that is going to be it for this tier list. Thank you guys for all of the support. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the thumbs up, for all the thumbs down, for all of the comments, for everybody subscribing and everything in between. I really, really appreciate it. All the support is greatly appreciated. If you guys have any requests or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. Reach out to me on Discord. Reach out to me online. Whatever it is that you want to do, even if it is absolute nothing. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy the holidays. Hope you have a great new year, and thank you for all the support. Love you guys. See you in the next video. Peace.